Starting on day 43, I start by collecting some materials for the next boat upgrades, but this is interrupted by my cat, who blesses me with his presence. I get attacked in the middle of the night and am forced to discard a piece of wood. I rest, and on day 44, I put the materials towards the 2 upgrades that I have remaining, and I also managed to fill in quite a number of materials for the second hull upgrade, only being short 2 planks and 1 piece of refined metal. On the remainder of day 44, I catch enough fish to fill my cargo as I'm looking to gather more money to obtain some of the items that I can put on my boat. I obtain some more explosives, sail around Gill Cliff some more, and eventually head my way to Twisted Strands. I look at some of the available upgrades, invest a research point, and on day 46 I head into Twisted Strands to explore this area. Little did I know that a telepathic brain tentacle would try to hurt me as soon as I entered this new area. I explore around as I feel I'm going crazy. The tree seems to be moving and the path seems to be changing in this weird new mysterious place. As I go more insane, tree branches sprout from the water and start attacking me as I see more of the trees blocking my way. I find another dark stone telling me about a parasite and the origin of this place. Parasite burrows into a snake-like carcass. Tendrils sprout from and senses the water around. The host corpse shudders reluctantly. With a cry that resounds through the forest, it rises once more. I sail around some more as more branches block my path. Seeing a path out of this maze, I return to the merchant. I sleep, repair the damages, and head back in during daytime. I head inside and decide to clear some of the debris that is in my way. Clearing this debris allows me to find some of the refined metal that I need in order to get the next hull upgrade. As I sail around some more, I notice the wreckage of an old fighter plane, and while I loot this fighter plane, I also get a dog tag which seems to be of some importance to someone. As the night settles, I spot a fake ship in the distance and respond to its horn call. I notice that it imitates my own horn sound, which I think is a pretty neat touch to this game. That's kind of cool. Kind of makes me want to go see what the fuck that is about. I make my way back to the merchant and put in the remaining materials for the new hull upgrade. But sadly, I don't have the cash available to buy this upgrade just yet. I go to sleep, and on day 48, I head towards a new area in Twisted Strands. Here, I meet a large man. He tells me he is an airman that has been stranded here for some time, and then tells me about the mind flayers that are roaming these parts. He tells me about his brothers in arms and that they have also crashed in various places of Twisted Strands and would like me to retrieve their dog tags if possible so he can honor them. He also wants me to get rid of the mind flayers and has me search for various parts in order for him to take care of these hideous creatures once and for all. I make my way to one of the airplanes and get a mortar frame. I then continue to sail around Twisted Strands some more looking for the remaining dog tags, but after sailing around for an entire day, I come up empty. During day 49, I bring the mortar to the airman and he tells me that the next stage in his plan is to lure the mind flayers into various contraptions that he has built around Twisted Strands. He will need me to catch various fish so he can make 3 special baits to lure the creatures to these contraptions. I have a few fish on hand, but I will have to go back into Twisted Strands to catch the majority of these. As I continue exploring Twisted Strands for these fish, I find more dog tanks, some materials, and also an altar and an abandoned camp. This camp is lined with unfamiliar symbols, and those symbols can also be found in the corners of a pentagram. It seems like the camp of a madman, and after exploring a bit, I continue along my way. I continue exploring as it turns into the night of day 50, and I am soon cornered by an evil tornado that seems to follow me everywhere I go, and a crab that is disguised as a ship. In the midst of all the danger, I seem to dredge a research point and more materials before making my way back to the merchant. Having a research point available, I decide I want to improve my passive fishing capabilities and invest in the large trawl net after much consideration. On day 51, I return to the airman and give him another dog tank, which also gives me enough research points to unlock that net and improve my fishing power. Sadly, I cannot install this new trawl net just yet because I missed the appropriate spaces in my cargo in order to install it, which gives me the urge to get the new hull upgrade as soon as possible. I spend the next 2 in-game days just fishing and gathering money in order to make this a reality. After upgrading the hull and allowing for more net space, I spend another 5 in-game days just fishing and looking for materials in order to continue upgrading my boats. On day 58, I find another abandoned campsite, and while I look around, it features similar markings to the previous abandoned site with a pentagram and unfamiliar markings all around. I continue fishing and gathering materials a bit more, and on day 60, I find another altar in the regions of Gale Cliffs. This altar seems to be asking for crabs to be put into it, but seeing as I don't have any crabs on me, I put my focus somewhere else and I continue along my way. After a few more days of sailing, I arrive at Devil's Spine on day 62. After meeting the blind monster of this region, I gather some more materials and make my way to a nearby altar. This is where I meet a crazed fanatic who tells me I need to deliver 3 flames to him. And not far from this altar, I meet yet another hooded figure, but this time in red robes. Sadly, I do not have the fish that he wants from me, and I continue along my way. On day 64, I meet a castaway near Steel Point, and he wants to be brought to Little Marrow. I happily oblige, and he gives me a very valuable signet ring. On this day, I also get the funds and the research point to get the versatile rod, which allows me to fish in 3 different types of waters, which I think is amazing. After some time installing the new equipment, I make my way back to Twisted Strands as I make the first of the 3 special baits. I make my way to the first trap and use the bait, and soon see the contraption taking hold on one of the mind flayers as it is being hit by a mortar shell not soon afterwards. I take a chunk of flesh with me as proof of the kill and continue to fish for the remaining parts of the bait. I continue to do so for the 2 remaining mind flayers. I trap them with the bait, and soon after a mortar hits, killing both of them. I return with the chunks of flesh to the airman, and he gives me a necklace that seemingly is the necklace that the collector is after. He also gives me fresh bait that will help me attract local fish. I use some of the fish I have in my storage to give to the airman and then fill up my inventory with a bit more bait. I also decide to spend a little bit more time in Twisted Strands before I make my way back to the collector. He then gives me a spell, which in hindsight I never used. It is a spell that practically kills all the fish around you, which I didn't really care much about. After this, he tells me that Devil's Spine is the last area that I need to head to.